What's up, guys? We have a special video for you today. I'm joined by the lovely Natty, and believe it or not, we've been doing dirty things to each other for over a year. So in this video, we're going to break down the keys to having a successful, long-term, friends with benefits type of relationship. We're going to go over all the do's and don'ts and all the things we've kind of learned along the way. All right, so this love story begins circa 2020. One fateful night, we go off to a bar, we have a good evening. I bring her back to my place using the, there's something I need to get excuse. Come back up here, and I'm ashamed to say that I was not able to close the deal. You know, I got a little hand job, but that was about it. Second date, we smash, and the sex was quite good. You know, we also have a good time together. I like this little one. I think someone likes me. So, you know, we keep hanging out, right? And at first it starts off super casual, and I think it still is pretty casual. But anyway, so we're just like hanging out, having sex, whatever. Usually she actually had the habit of bouncing like 30 minutes after sex because she was worried. But anyway, so, you know, and this is now about a year and a half later. And so we sat down and we really brainstormed what are the things that we feel has made this shit successful, you know, for over a year and a half, which I think is a pretty lengthy time for a casual relationship. And we came up with 8 things. So, in no specific order, we have good sex and sexual chemistry. So good sex, you definitely can work on as the guy. You know, this is things like actually caring about whether the girl comes or not. Like, for example, if you never, in the early days, orgasmed, would you be coming back?
No, not likely.
Not likely at all. Exactly. You know, going down on the girl, unless you have a neck injury, in which case you ain't going down on anybody. And also just things like, you know, just caring about the shit the girl's into. Like, for example, figuring out her kinks, figuring out what turns her on, and kind of playing into that. I'm not going to get into too much detail on that one. Second is sexual chemistry, and this one you cannot really fake. You either have it or you don't. You can kind of build on sexual chemistry, but you can't go from 0 to 100. You can go from maybe 50 to 60 or so on. So this one is purely luck. If you meet a girl and you guys have no sexual chemistry, then, you know, there's not much you can do about that. That's probably not going to be sustainable long term, or at least not as a casual relationship that's, you know, largely predicated on sex, I think.
Even like a serious relationship, do not.
Yeah, but
do not get involved with someone.
It just depends. It depends how low level of sexual chemistry there is. Is it like you have some sexual chemistry but not a lot, or is it no sexual chemistry?
Like, I think it's sad. Let's agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. Next, clear expectations.
That's important.
So I think this is important. If I had, you know, taken you to a bunch of fancy restaurants and done a bunch of chody shit, you know, you probably would expect more from me, and then you would be disappointed, right? But you know, your expectations were pretty clear from the start. Like, yeah, this guy is more or less a fuckboy. Like, you know.
Yeah, the same with me. Like, you knew what was I here for. Like, I never gave you false expectations either.
I knew you were here for the dick. You just want to get dig down. So clear expectations.
How do you set clear expectations, though?
I think through your actions.
Okay.
That's the best way. So it's not really, I think that if you get to a point where you have to sit down and have the talk, then your actions have been wrong. So I think just by your vibe and your actions, that's the best way of setting expectations.
What about long-term expectations setting? Because things do progress. I mean,
yeah, things do progress.
We've done things that have been, but like.
Yeah, well, I think at that point, when you usually sit down and you talk about it like an honest way, where you hear the other person out and you don't, you know, you're open to their opinion, and then, you know, if, for example, you feel like they're wrong about something, you point it out in a calm way, which is something 90% of people are actually unable to do, unfortunately, very sadly.
We've been very good at keeping our expectations very on point.
Very on point. Next, establishing clear boundaries. So, you cannot have a clear friends with benefits relationship that lasts long term if the girl constantly walks over you, right? Because, you know, then she's crossing your boundaries. But I think there's a lot of confusion about what to do when someone does cross your boundaries, right? Like, oh, you gotta, you know, put her in her place or kick her out. But that doesn't really work. It's not really practical. The best thing you can do is to avoid having your boundaries crossed in the first place by picking people who are not massive dipshits in your life. That's the first thing. Second of all is you want to catch it before your boundary is crossed. So for example, let's say, for example, with me, like I hate flaking, right? That's one of my boundaries.
That's one of your big no-nos.
Yeah, so like, and you knew that about me from the start. And so like, but like, I would say like, if you're late, I don't make a big deal out of it, but like my default response is humor, right? Like, I don't even see the need to like be like, oh, you were late and it made me feel like this. I'd be like, oh, are you going to come another 5 hours later and wait till I die of old age before you show up, right? So I think humor can be effective and you can catch things before they even progress into something more if you're willing to kind of speak up a little bit.
Something else that he does is that he would tell me stories.
Yes.
About like how this other girl like was flaky and that he hated that. So like I knew.
Yeah, I think storytelling is very powerful. You can tell stories about, or also I like to reward, like, so for example, I might be like, you know what I like about you?
You make me sound like a ducky. He likes to reward me.
I like to reward my little ducky. I might say, oh, you know what I like about you? You're not flaky, right? So she's like, oh shit, he thinks I'm not flaky. I better not be flaky, right? So reward almost, rather than punish bad behavior, reward good behavior.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's about, like, what I do is I do communicate it openly. I'm like, look, I don't like aggressive people. I'm a lot more strict with my boundaries than you are, I guess. But I do have set boundaries where, like, once they're crossed, like, that's it. I have my no-nos. I have other boundaries that are like, okay, like, I'm willing to work on that, but just be mindful that it's something that it bothers me.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. And I think it's important to know which boundaries are like things that you can kind of like compromise. And some coming from me, I love it. Like, he's like looking at me because it's coming from me. But like, there are boundaries where you just don't compromise. And it's important to communicate that, right?
I don't think you have to like super like, we've talked about this, like one of my biggest boundaries is like, like if you steal from me, you're done.
Exactly.
But I never sat down and said, hey, by the way, don't steal from me, because then you're done. Like that would be weird. Like I think you only need to bring it up if it comes up.
Yeah, but...
Or that you see potential for it coming up.
Exactly. But like, it's important to do it through storytelling, humor, and what else?
Well, I also think communication, clear communication, also just carrying yourself in a way that like, okay, like this is clearly someone who's not a massive pussy, someone who will stand up for himself if his lines are being crossed. Like this guy is not willing to, just fucking accommodate me to no end, right?
Exactly. That's very important. Women do like a man with boundaries.
Women do like a man who's not a bitch. Okay, next.
A man do like a woman with boundaries too.
No, we love your fucking boundaries. I love those boundaries. Next, not getting jealous.
That's a big one for... We do a really good job at controlling our jealousy.
Well, I think that I'm just lucky because I'm just naturally not a jealous person at all. So I just don't feel jealousy. Because I have this delusional belief that I'm like really awesome and that people can't really do much better than me. But so... that helps. If you can develop that, that's great. But if not, I think you have to learn to control your emotions. So the analogy I would give is like if you get angry, you have a feeling to punch the wall, but you can resist that feeling and not punch the wall. And then eventually the feeling goes away. So you feel jealous, you can be like, what the fuck are you doing? Or you can just not say that and eventually that feeling goes away. So you have to master your emotions. I think that's part of being a successful man, is really dominating your emotions, not letting your emotions dominate you. I actually got that from True Blood, but I know.
How do you deal with the other person's jealousy? I mean, I'm not very big. I'm not jealous.
No, you're not. How do you deal with jealousy? I mean, I would be like, with
her jealousy.
Yeah. Well, does her jealousy stem from something realistic, or is it silly jealousy? If it's something silly, I would, politely point it out to her. I'd be like, babe. Like, you are literally driving yourself crazy with something that's not even true. Like, do you see how silly this is?
Okay.
Like, be patient and, like, point it out to her and make her realize it.
Oh, great. And, no, never mind. No, you covered it. That's a really good one.
We can share the small dick story later. Next, not being pushy. So the example that I wrote down here that you're looking at right now is with you, cuddles. Like you're super awkward about cuddling, just a cuddle fucking monster over here. The first time we called, you almost had a panic attack, which I find amusing because I was banging you for months, but you still couldn't get a cuddle in.
Babe,
so
please, you're giving me a reputation
as the cuddle monger. But anyway, but like I never pushed you with that. I was never like, come on, why won't you cuddle? Why won't you cuddle? Let's cuddle, right?
I honestly thought I was being very successful at that you didn't notice.
It's like extremely obvious. But anyway, so I just kind of poked at it, and I find that like just being able to just slowly just kind of chip away at someone's thing that you want them to do is much better than just straight up assault, like doing a straight up assault, and then they agree with you, but then they resent you because they feel like they were pressured into something, versus a more indirect approach where they just slowly over time just kind of give into something you want them to do.
How do you deal when the booty call who you really like starts to push you into something that you're not ready for?
So, yo, bitch, I ain't ready for that shit. No, I mean, like, okay, if it was like a relationship, I would be like, again, this would be like reframing. I would be like, listen, like, I really like you and I like what we have right now. This is great. However, I just don't think it would be fair to you or me if we, move on to the next step, because I just don't think I'm at my life where I'm ready for that.
Okay.
And I don't think I would be ready for that with any girl. So I want us to keep doing what we're doing and just let things develop naturally. And if it happens, it happens. If not, if not. So give her a little bit of hope and then a reframe.
Okay, that's a good one.
Next, not playing games. So I think the mistake a lot of guys in the red pill, black pill, gay pill community make is they assume that you have to constantly keep gaming your booty call, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, right? Super silly, right? You don't have to. I basically treat you like a friend who I fuck, right?
You love to emphasize that. You love to emphasize
like
that.
Like a friend who I fuck.
Yeah, friends you have sex with.
A friend who I...
Out of all the insulting things I said to him, calling him my friend once.
Okay, well, they don't need to hear our dirty laundry. So anyway, I think that the big thing is with that is just like I completely forgot my point. What was I on? Not playing games. Yeah. So I think that you can just use honest communication. Just be straight up. Treat a girl you're seeing like you would treat your friend, but a friend that you fuck.
Do you want to give them examples of one of our texts so they know how we communicate?
Nah, they're gonna think we're weird as fuck. Let's skip that. Next and last point: honesty and good communication. I think this one is very underrated. I think it's important to just be straight up, because if you lie, you can get away with it for a while, but eventually, especially if you lie a lot, that shit catches up to you. So that kind of kills the sustainability of a potential booty call type of dynamic. So there's a problem with that. I think honesty is just always good. People respect you more. People trust you more. Yeah. If you're just straight up, you don't have to like say every single thing like, oh, babe, these pants make you look like 5 pounds overweight. Like, you don't have to do, extreme honesty, but just like, when asked, answer the question honesty and just be straight up.
About important things, though. I think that's always important, even when not asked.
Yeah.
Be honest about it. I'm honest to you about things, even if you don't ask me.
Yeah, you're very honest. That's what the internet is going to like about you. It's just your big old... Honesty. Balloons. All right, guys. And there you have it. 8 points to having a successful long-term friends with benefits relationship. All right. Hopefully you guys found this video valuable. If you're serious about having multiple friends with benefits and just maximizing your sex life, then please hit that like button, hit subscribe, and click the bell for notification. If you play your cards right, maybe she'll hook you up with a few of her cousins. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time.